Hello, and welcome to the Porcelain Dawn channel. Today will be my spoiler discussion of the Red Rising book by Pierce Brown. Hello, and welcome to the channel. And as most of you will know who are watching this, hopefully at least, I have already done a review, spoiler-free, for the book Red Rising by Pierce Brown. The first book in the Red Rising trilogy, surprisingly enough. And I really enjoyed it. And whilst that was spoiler-free, I did want to do another video talking about specific plot points that were in the book that I really enjoyed or didn't enjoy. I'm going to be doing this sort of series for several of my reviews from a lot of the books I read, so we can get a bit more in-depth into the meat of the story, the meat of the book, so I can get into it a bit more openly without being constrained by the lack of spoilers. So here we are. So this book starts off with a miner in a mining colony, a young prodigious miner named Darrow. And I did not like the start. It's not that I disliked it, but I wasn't positively, I didn't react positively to it. It didn't engender any affection or anything like that from me, because it was just, it seemed very, very, common. There's downtrodden workers, a young prodigy of the working class who is downtrodden by the man, but if they could just see his value, he would be, in a different position. It's not a meritocracy. Space, sci-fi, and mining also. I was like, here we go again, Again, like I said, it wasn't hate, it was just maybe fatigue, something like that. I just thought, oh, okay, this is it. But very quickly it sort of turned, with his wife, Darrow's wife, and then the death of Darrow's wife, or the execution rather, and the song and everything. And my interest started to mount a little bit, even though I did think of fridging. Fridging, I don't know if you're aware, fridging is where a writer or a screenwriter, I believe, they insert a wife or a child, or I think a husband is included, but it's traditionally a wife, just to be killed for the reaction. And when I was reading this, I thought fridging for his wife, and saying that sort of tongue in cheek, like I have no problem with it. It's a term that I learned and it just popped into my mind. But I have no problem with, sacrificial lambs in literature. It's been done for thousands of years, and it's going to be done for thousands of years more. So don't take it too strongly, my criticism. It's not even a criticism, but it's something that did pop into my mind. Anyway, she is fridged and kicked out and into the afterlife. And Darrow is then taken to, he is also sort of, he absconds with the help of his uncle to a place where he's offered a choice, and he gets sort of rebuilt physically, surgically, chemically, rebuilt into a gold. Like the red is the bottom layer, and they're sort of underfed, undernourished, underappreciated scum. They're basically treated like scum in this thing. And then you have the golds, which are like Superman, tall, handsome, powerful, perfect almost in every way. So they turn Darrow into a gold, into a walking demigod almost. And again, my interest had gone up a little bit from the start, but it still wasn't. At a high. I was just sort of curious. Okay, where is this going? This is somewhat interesting, but if it's, you could see multiple avenues of where you think this is going, and I thought, okay, we'll see. And then when he gets He sees the civilization, which I thought was interesting. He sees that his uh, the story they tell the Reds to keep them going is that they're pioneers trying to terraform Mars for other people to come. When in fact, Darrow finds out that Mars is already colonized. Sorry, the whole solar system more or less is colonized, and they just fed this lie to keep them working because they believe that it's to tell them it's a noble sacrifice would make the unlivable conditions more livable for a longer period of time. So when Darrow finds out this, he's sort of shocked and heartbroken and angry. And then, as a young gold, he gets put into an academy, which all the golds go through. It's sort of like a finishing school or a proving ground. And at this point, I thought, okay, is this going to be like Ender's Game, sort of ish? Um, but then very quickly, he brutally is forced to fight his best friend, or his best friend. He's only known him a short time, but the only guy that was nice to him, the only gold that was nice to him. uh, and it's like a shower fight scene or a bathroom fight scene. I don't know why. The imagery of blood on tiles, um, uh, and yeah, it's very visceral, the violence. Up until here, the writing was very simple, and you know, it wasn't that engaging. But then it was very shocking and very violent all of a sudden, which sort of gripped my attention. And then he makes it through this test. He kills the boy, Julian. He'll come back in later. Not him, but his name. Um, and then you find out that there's now a game. The academy, part of the academy is a game where you have houses. The students are split into houses with each one having a sort of teacher supervisor, and then they're forced to combat each other in this um, separated part of the planet where they sort of have free reign to conquer each other with a limited weapon set and limited resources, and it's sort of to train them militarily. And I was like, oh, this could be interesting. In my head, I thought, okay, my interest is growing slightly. And then this part of the book, this is in my original review, I said it was this the book was a cross between I thought the book was a cross between Game of Thrones and Ender's Game. And the Ender's Game is, sci-fi young. uh, and the Game of Thrones was this part, the houses, the politics, the betrayal, the alliances. This was very much reminded me of sort of a Game of Thrones light, if you will. That might be a terrible example, but that's what popped into my head initially. And this part was really, really interesting. The pacing just ramped up throughout this whole part. It was shockingly violent. There was parts that were really, really, really violent. There was off-screen sexual assault, if I'm not mistaken. It's sort of there's a Lord of the Flies element in that they're young, but they're monstrous. Like children before they really learn culpability or consequences. They have the capacity to do the most deranged and disgusting and depraved things just because they don't have a perspective on it. They don't know. They've never felt the sort of inherent moral guilt of doing something awful. So they don't know. So yeah, it's really, really brutal and really interesting. And there's like there's little nuggets that are put in that I thought that were very interesting, like uh, Titus. I think his name's Titus, who also is a red, not a gold, who's been, when Darrow is coming to execute him for, I believe, sexual assault or mistreatment of prisoners, torture, something like that. He's one of Darrow's friends, or he's on Darrow's faction. And then he gets executed by Darrow, and he says, um, he says bloody damn, which is a swear word that the Reds use, and the gold version of it is gory damn. So there's sort of a little, oh no, he's also like Darrow. He's been remade, and that explains why he's so angry and he's misunderstood. And Darrow executes him anyway because he has a moral compass, but also to reinforce his position as, I need to kill him because he's getting in the way of my own mission, which I thought was sort of interesting. And the character work in this, there are some very interesting characters. Darrow is very interesting. His development, if you will, not the most profound or deep, but well done. Pax, I love. He's a comic character. He's very larger than life, but fun. When he gets killed, it's quite sad. He reminds me of sort of a big loyal puppy in a sense. But when the jackal kills him, you're thinking, oh no, I like that guy. He was so sweet and innocent, even if he was in this body of a hulking giant. The jackal, yeah, is a great character when you see him sort of talked about in hushed, fearful tones, and you hear these horror stories, and then you see him and he's a Poindexter, he's not some great warrior. He's just a bureaucrat who's great at organizing with a ruthless streak, which I thought was brilliant. It would be too easy to make sort of a ultimate warrior be the ultimate bad guy, but the idea to make the jackal not only Mustang's brother, but also a pen pusher. I thought that was great because pen pushers, especially in the far future, pen pushers are going to have way more power than warriors. Even now, bureaucrats rule, and people who go to the gym a lot and have a lot of physical strength don't. Sorry to tell you. So I thought that was very good. And then there's the part with the where the new people get worried about Darrow, the powers that be get worried about Darrow, and they feed the fact that he killed Julian to Cassius, his best friend, who is actually Julian's brother. So that makes it a bit tense, and there's a conflict and there's a fight. Cassius, I think, is a very good character, kind of unoriginal. We've all seen a character like Cassius before, but he serves the story well, and he's very very well utilized. I don't think it's a crime to have tropish characters. I think they're tropes for a reason. I think he is well done in this. Goblin also, kind of a trope, but fun and well written. I enjoyed it. And then by the end, the shocking end, they turn against the teachers. They go and lay siege to the Mount Olympus, which is kind of where the teachers overseeing this exercise are, and they take it over. They beat up the teachers, and then Darrow is offered a choice of what to do next, as he sort of graduated unofficially from the academy. And oh yeah, sorry, the part that I didn't mention. This isn't. I'm not going through the story. I'm just talking about my reaction to certain beats. There's people who have read the story or know, but when you find out that Mustang, his love interest, his second in command, her father is also the Jackal's father, is also the man that ordered Darrow's wife hung, you think this is all coming to a head, all very perfectly, a perfect storm where everything's going to explode. But then you find right at the end that he joins him. He joins the Augustus family instead of the Bologna family, which is Cassius's family, and hate the Augustus. So you think he would join with Cassius, his best friend, his family, who hate the family that killed Darrow's wife. So you'd think the enemy of that my enemy is my friend. But instead, showing sort of a 3D chess move, you think, perhaps you don't know, he joins Mustang's father's family, he agrees to work with him, and you think, okay, keep your enemies close, keep your friends close and your enemies close. I wonder where this is going to go. So by the time the book ends, my interest was completely piqued. I really had not many expectations for this book, and the pacing and the violence, it's very cinematic, it's very engaging, it goes quickly, and it's just sort of an emotional roller coaster. My heart was thudding most of the time, and I found it really, really enjoyable. So the book, when the first book ended, I was on a high. Any of you who've seen my review for Golden Sun, the second book, it stuck the landing. I really, really enjoyed it, even more than this one. And I will soon be doing a spoiler discussion for that one. So stay tuned. That one is even more of a roller coaster, if you will. It was just, anyway, that's not here. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Let me know, spoiler discussion, what you thought of the book. What parts stuck out to you? What parts you didn't resonate with, perhaps? Just how this book affected you. Thank you for stopping by. Take care. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.